Is applying to the International Coaching Federation, the ICF, for a credential really worth it? Hello, beautiful coach, guide, leader, facilitator. You're serious about your journey, your career. You want to do the right thing, and you've considered, should I go to all this trouble of acquiring an ICF, ACC, PCC, or MCC credential? You've looked at it, you've seen that it is actually a real journey. It requires some courage and some commitment to the path. And perhaps you would like to explore some pros and cons. So I'm going to do my best to share with you what I've seen. The things that you need to consider when deciding whether this is the right path for you and whether it's worth it. My name is Colleen Joy. I'm the founder and creator of Inner Life Skills, which offers an ACTP accredited coach training program, and I'm an MCC credentialed coach. So of course that's going to make you think, well, you must be a little biased towards the ICF, and that's true most of the time. I do think it's a valuable and worthwhile path, but it's not for everyone. So let's jump in and help you to declutter this whole thing and weigh up the pros and cons to decide whether this is right for you. Do you need an ICF International Coaching Federation credential in order to work and practice as a coach, an in-house coach, or an external independent coach with your machete carving your way through the jungle of self-employment? The short answer, absolutely not. It's an unregulated industry. There are no legal controls over the use of the word and the title coach. It's closer to consulting, and therefore it doesn't fall into the domain of medical or mental health professional standards or controls. However, for those of us that are committed to our careers and to mastering our skills and knowing that we have door-opening credentials and certification, this path is absolutely worthwhile. What are the downsides of setting out on the ICF credentialing path to acquire an ACC, PCC, or MCC credential? Well, of course, time. You're going to need to commit a big chunk of time to this path. You need to acquire a certain amount of study time, certification time, and each of the credentials asks for more. You're going to also need to put in time to log and categorize your coaching experience. And for each of those different credentials, you need to prove more coaching experience. The top MCC asks for 2,500 hours of coaching experience. So there's a time commitment. But of course, if you're already on the path of being a professional coach, you're going to be studying, hopefully, and you're going to be coaching. So those two areas may already be covered and therefore might not be as big a factor as for some folks who aren't really taking this path as seriously. One of the most significant downsides to choosing an ICF credential path and aiming for ACC, PCC, and ultimately MCC is the financial investment. You would be needing to invest not only in coach-specific training education, and the most direct path up the credential mountain is with an ACTP accredited coach training program, which of course comes with the relevant price tag compared to some of the very cheap non-accredited coach training programs out there and in the world. There is also the cost of the actual credentialing process. Do remember that if you choose a portfolio path with the ICF or an approved coach-specific training path, the two other paths up the credentialing mountain, the ICF will charge you significantly more and require more administration from you, more paperwork, because you would not have done a lot of the expected requirements inside of your ACTP accredited coach training program, like observed coaching sessions, like a performance evaluation, and like mentor coaching hours. Therefore, in the long run, having completed an ACTP program is probably going to end up being worth the investment if you choose wisely, because when it comes time to apply to the ICF, there is a savings with their ACTP path. If you're considering going down the credentialing path with the ICF, also keep in mind that once you have a credential, you will be required to have continuing education and to renew that credential. That process is well handled by the ICF. They've got a beautiful system in place, but it is time consuming and it requires putting in some effort every year to make sure that you meet their ongoing requirements. This would also mean that you would need a certain amount of CCE, continued coach education hours or credits, so that when you apply for your renewal, you prove that you are continuing to learn and develop as a coach. There are a number of different ways to get those CCE hours in the world. The ICF also provides a number of self-study courses on their platforms that do count. There's also conferences, and of course the ICF's many chapters around the world that offer online webinars and lectures often do include CCE points. Also, if you re-attend or attend any part of an ACTP program, that will also count as continuing coach education. So will the ICF credential path and becoming an ACC, PCC, or MCC coach ultimately bind you, restrict you, prevent you from being truly free as a coach to deliver the kind of coaching that makes your heart sing? Will it mean that you are not allowed to do certain things and coach in a certain way? Well, yes and no. Being an ICF credentialed coach means that you have agreed to their code of ethics, that you are being held by certain standards. Now, fortunately, these standards are often in line with our own sense of morals and ethics and the value systems that we put into taking our coaching careers seriously. Things like confidentiality, respecting our clients' cultural backgrounds, honoring the people that we serve through our coaching. But one of the key distinctions that the ICF does make is the difference between coaching, therapy, teaching, mentoring, etc. So it might concern you that if you go down the ICF credentialing road and you get an ICF accredited training program certification, that this might bind you in terms of the kind of work that you do in the world. As long as you are complying with the code of ethics and the standards, and that your coaching competencies have been demonstrated through your performance evaluations, the good news is that most coaches do actually have multiple roles in their careers. They're not only pure coaches. What I call a pure coach is somebody that is offering only ICF competency-related services. And what that means is they're giving no advice, no guidance, and they're facilitating a conversation to empower someone to empower themselves, to have their own aha moments and insights. It's a partnership of discovery and growth. But in the world, Most coaches are what I call blended coaches, which means that they're swapping hats between different roles. Take, for example, a manager or a leader. A manager as coach, or a leader who includes coaching competencies and has even become an ACC, PCC, or an MCC coach, obviously can't spend their day always not giving advice, not leading, not mentoring. So what they're doing is skillfully choosing when to do pure coaching and when to shift into a more of a mentor role or a trainer role or a leader role. So this is common practice. Also for external coaches, for coaches that have their own businesses, their own practices, there's often a sweet spot I have found with our graduate master coaches where coaches combine or offer consulting, training, and coaching. Now, the coach is very clear on these different roles. And when they are coaching, they're coaching at beautiful, pure, high, gold standard ICF levels. They're still complying with all the code of ethics, etc. But they swap hats and shift into consulting mode, switch into training mode when necessary and when it's going to serve the client. So think of it as proving you can drive a car by doing a test and by learning how to drive a car at a professional and master level. Your assessments, you will have to prove you can do pure coaching. You can drive the car under certain conditions. But in the real world, you might need to drive in the rain. You might be a rally driver. You might be a casual driver just driving to the shops. So there are different applications for your coaching. Your coaching skills will make you a better communicator, a better listener, a better speaker. And I have found that pure coaching skills even make us better trainers and consultants. So yes, it can look like a downside, but I have found that acquiring a credential and going down the road of becoming an ACC, PCC, and MCC coach, I am an MCC coach, has improved every role, and it hasn't restricted or bound me in any way. Some of the important upsides of becoming a credentialed coach with the ICF is that the ICF carries a transfer of credibility. In other words, because they've done such an exceptional job over the decades of researching, of consulting with stakeholders, really getting in touch with what it means to coach at a professional and master level, their commitment to the gold standards of coaching means that the moment you have an ICF credential next to your name, they have transferred trust to you, which the industry respects. So in terms of credibility and recognition, door opening opportunities, having an ICF credential can really matter. Now, I will say that certain niche markets will regard your ICF credential far more than other markets. If, for example, you are combining coaching with some kind of consultancy work in the life coaching space or in the wellness coaching space, you may not feel the pressure from your clients to the extent that if you were in the executive coaching space or in the business coaching space. Corporate clients, organizational clients tend to value an ICF credential really highly and sometimes even demand it. The journey up the mountain of acquiring an ICF credential, first ACC, then PCC, and then MCC, or what many folks do is they skip ACC, go from PCC, and then finally MCC, is the journey to mastery. There's no doubt that applying yourself to this kind of rigorous path is going to cultivate your skill sets. You are now being benchmarked at an international level. You're being asked to prove and demonstrate your competencies. This is where the industry is really sifting through the sand, finding the gold. And if you are serious about this kind of mastery path, then know that a big plus side is going to be challenging yourself to up your skills all the time. And because the ICF credential path also means that you'll need to renew your credential and apply yourself to continued coach education, you will stay in touch with the latest groundbreaking, cutting-edge developments in the industry. Having an ICF credential with an ACC, PCC, or MCC next to your name means that you've suddenly stepped into a community of professionals. You can look around at the ocean of coaches and you can spot other credentialed coaches. This means there's an opportunity for networking, partnerships, referrals, collaborations. If you go on to, for example, LinkedIn and you search for an ACC, PCC, or MCC coach, you will see how many coaches that are out there and the community that you would automatically be involved in. By having an ICF credential, you've just made it possible to connect to people that probably might not have thought of connecting to you without the ACC, PCC, or MCC next to your name. The more the coaching industry matures and grows, the more discerning our clients are getting. Makes sense. When your client is deciding whether to hire you or someone else promoting their services in the coaching space, your ICF credential could be the deciding factor. Certainly in the world of executive coaching, corporate organizational leadership coaching, the ICF credential carries a lot of weight. And just an influencing factor, there are many corporate clients that won't even consider your services without you having an ICF credential. Something you might not know about ICF competencies is that they're kind of plug and play. They're the kinds of skills and competencies that you can actually insert into many other forms of communication, and they will actually enhance other roles like consulting, teaching, counseling, etc. So even though many ICF credentialed coaches don't offer only pure coaching, no advice giving, and they often do mix into other roles, right? Still, this competency set and these credentials enhance every other area of our career and all the other roles that we play in life. Is having an ICF credential enough to succeed? No. It's going to make a substantial contribution to your career, to your confidence, to your credibility, to your ability to attract clients, but it is absolutely not enough. Most coaches don't realize that they need other tools. They need flexible, comprehensive toolboxes. They need business building and career building skill sets. That's why Inner Life Skills not only trains the ICF competencies to make sure that our graduates can apply to the ICF for credential and be successful in being awarded that credential, but that they also have more than 80 tools that are unique so that they have a multi-niche, flexible approach. They can build many income streams if they choose to go on their own and build their own businesses. And they have mentoring, guidance, and ethical, conscious business building knowledge so that they can actually build a practice and attract clients and run a successful coaching business. So when choosing an ICF program, make sure it ticks all the boxes of ACTP, that the trainers are well qualified and credentialed at PCC and MCC level. And then ask the question, what else am I getting? And do make sure that you're getting a comprehensive toolbox that will allow you to coach any niche, not just life coaching or executive coaching or business coaching. You really do want to have all those doors open. And make sure that you're also getting expert advice from coaches who have walked the path already and proven their success around building a practice, finding clients, and building systems so that you break free of selling coaching hours and that you can have the freedom that you're dreaming of and the abundant client attracting practice that will afford you the ability to do the work you love, make the difference that you want to make, and coach anyone, anywhere in the world.